It's Horsham District time and it's a league bye this weekend, but we got Big Peter Weir with us to have a chat about last week and where the four grades are at. The Jeparit Rainbow Storm report too in that. And here he is, Big Weary. How are you?
Yeah, really well, thanks, Wayne. And yeah, coming off a solid win last week, it's probably good to have this weekend off because looking at the weather forecast, the games that do go ahead around the region are going to be up against some pretty tough conditions with a lot of wind and rain forecast across the region.
Yes, certainly are. Well, we'll go to the Jeparit Rainbow and Pimpernaya game in a moment, but we'll just quickly go through the others because this was interesting. Nadimak, 11-6-72, beat Kalkee 10-8-68 at Nadimak. I reckon that would be the first time that the sheep paddockers have beaten Kalkee in a long, long time.
Yeah, definitely. That's what's come out of that game, Flowman. I think they just fell over the line too with a 4-point win. But yeah, it would have been a long time since the Natty boys have been able to celebrate a win against Kalkee, and I'm sure they did Saturday night.
They would have. Harrow continue their great form, beating Edenhope absolutely. It was probably serviceable for Edenhope because Harrow kicked 18-23 to 5-10. Probably the wet underfoot conditions are probably favouring sides coming up against the Kangaroos.
Yeah, Edenhope love a heavy track flow, man. But yeah, to take Simon Close and James Stouty out of that team on Saturday is probably 70 or 80 goals for the year, flow, man. So that was probably another reason why they didn't quite score as prolifically as they have been throughout the year. But yeah, still did enough to have a dominant win against Edenhope. And
a dominant win for the Swifts, 24-13 over Taylors Lake 6-6. So the Lakers obviously just simply can't get competitive. The Swifts, finals bound, I think.
Yeah, definitely a danger team, the Swifties boys, and Angus Murray's having a really good season. He's sort of a tall midfielder flow man who's really hard to match up on and runs forward and kicks a goal, and yeah, he's an exciting player for Stawell.
All right, this one, Brock Orville, remember that name? Yes, used to play over at the Southern Mallee Giants. Well, he kicked 8 goals in Narrabri Quantong, 16-13 to Caniva-Leor, 7-5. He outscored the Cougars.
Yeah, it was a danger game for the Narrabri Quantong boys because, as we know, Caniva have been up and down all this year, but they're always a better team on their home deck as well. So, but like any good side would, flow, man, when they went over there and really needed the win, they come home with a strong result, and Brock obviously played a great game for the Bombers.
Yeah, talking about 8, Braden Nyson, he also got 8 in a big win for Rapanya, 18-12 to Laharam, 5-3.
Yeah, he's a good forward, Braden, when he gets his jukes up in, and he's a beautiful kick at goal, flow, man, so he always takes advantage of his opportunities, and yeah, it's turning out to be another pretty tough season for the Demons, though, after another heavy defeat.
It's certainly been that. What about this, though? It was 17-17 to the Storm, 119 over Pimpernaya, 10-7-67. You didn't have it all your own way, albeit that some bloke up forward called Peter Weir, he starred on the day and had an absolute belter with 6 goals.
Well, I'm not sure about that, flow, man, but yeah, it was good to get on the end of a few. But yeah, it was an interesting game. When we had the momentum, we felt like we were very much in control of the game. But when Pimpernaya were able to halt that momentum, they were able to score quite heavily at the other end. So even though we walked away with a pretty good win in the end, I think the Pimpernaya boys would have never felt like they were out of the game.
Yeah, certainly weren't at three-quarter time. They fought back in that third quarter, 12-13 to 10-5. So it was game on. A couple of reports out of the game with Scotty Driscoll, your coach, 3 weeks, and Tommy Long, 2 weeks. So that would have certainly had an impact, I'm sure, during that period. But what about Cluggo? He's kicked 5. He got best player. You booted 6, and they only put you down at 4th. I mean, did Cluggo do a bit of work around the ground and you just hung in the goal square?
Oh, there was a bit of that, flow, man, but no, it's always great to play up forward with Ash, and yeah, he's remarkable how he keeps getting it done at his age, flow, man, and yeah, another well-deserved best on-ground performance, and yeah, providing a spark for us up forward as he always has.
All right, remarkable how with age they keep getting it done. Well, we'll go to the 2s. There's a couple of old blokes in the 2s, and we're going to have a look at one of those old blokes in a moment. Firstly, though, to the game from last week, and I noted that you got beaten by Pimpernaya 9-11 to 4-8. It was a good win for them because they're in touch with the top 6. Your reserves side probably not.
Yeah, we're challenging sides above us, but we're just lacking those few extra players, flow, man, to get the result and get the win. But yeah, it was great to see Nathan Cox back in that side. and got a best on ground performance. He's recovering from an ACL injury, Flowman, and he's got a nice block of 4 or 5 games now where he can really put his hand back up for senior selection as well.
Yeah, great stuff from him. And goals coming from Jesse Effort, Aidan Gilligan. They both booted a couple. Roy O'Halloran, Liam Preston, good young player. Gavin Nicholson also joining the better players. Hey, they tell me, though, one of the blokes, though, in the reserves, Jason Hudson, that in a couple of weeks' time, he's going to be up for 500 games for the Jeparit Rainbow Storm. Now, that would join the great Rock Murphy. Have you met 2 blokes in the reserves that have played more than 500?
Yeah, I think Rock might have been a bit inspired by Jason, and that's why he's been back out to play. But he'll really enjoy playing with his great mate Hutto in his 500th in a couple of weeks' time. And yeah, it's incredible, really, because Hutto's been such a great contributor to the Jeparit Rainbow Footy Club, and to this day, when we were struggling for a coach this season, Flowman, he's actually the coach of the reserves team and the starting centreman. So I don't think when he thought he was playing game 500 that'd be the case, but that shows what an impact he's had at the club and what a great club man he is.
Yes, for those that are thinking about coming back to have a look, it's in a couple of weeks' time on the game against Eden Hope at Jeparit on the 22nd of July that he will play his 500th game. Okay, the 17s. It was a bit of a tough day out at the office for the boys because they were playing one of the top sides and they got mercied early, Pimpernel 11-7 to 1 point. But they tell me there might well have been a story out of this with the best player, Charlie Roberts, putting in an absolute blinder once they mercy ruled.
Yeah, after three-quarter time when the sides got evened up, Flowman, it turned into a Charlie Roberts show, and he was able to bag 5 goals, which is an incredible effort by him. And his old man, Alan, has played probably 20 or 30 years of footy, Flowman. I don't reckon he would have kicked 5 goals in his career. So forevermore, he'll have that one over his old man. And, yeah, it was great to see the boys get around him and help him celebrate each of his 5 goals in a day that he'll never forget.
Oh, it was great stuff. What about this? Pimpernel 11-7-73 to Jeparit Rainbow 3-4-22 in the under-14s. They played okay, the boys here. They just couldn't, after quarter time, control the scoring that was going to the other end. So they got mercied in the end, but probably a reasonable performance given that Pimpernel juniors are really good.
Yeah, the Pimp Juniors are strong, and Dusty Eckerman and Fletcher Keller, both really determined players, played a great game. But, yeah, with these losses starting to mount up, Flowman, it might be hard for the under-14 boys to find that spot in the finals. But, yeah, unfortunately, they went down again. Yeah,
they did. Dustin Eckerman, Maxie Spokes and Lenny Weir all booted a goal on the score sheet. Good to see Caleb Heinrich and Theodore Badua as other names on the better players. Well played to them. Let's just go back then and take a look at the conundrums that we have then for the ladder, because in senior football, first up, we've got Harrow Balmoral. They're clearly the best side in the league, and their percentage is almost dramatic for 492. You're second at 181% but 36 points. Just the one game clear and percentage of Narrajua Quantong. At this point of the year, 5 games to go. I reckon that you could shore up this top 2. Given who you've got to play, I think that you're in a pretty good shape to get there. The game against Narrajua Quantong is very vital.
Yeah, the future's in our own hands, Flowman. Right from the start of the season in the District League, you aim for that top 2 position because it does give you a great advantage heading into finals, and we've been able to win enough games to give ourselves every opportunity to finish second, but yeah, we've got to pretty much win our last 5 games to secure that spot because Narrajua Quantong are close by, and as good sides do, they'll keep winning. So the pressure's on us to keep winning, but if we do that, we should finish in second and have first crack at Harrow Balmoral.
Having a look quickly at the reserve grade, well, the fellas are in a bit of a bother here because I don't think that they're going to see finals action. 9th place, couple of wins and a draw. Can they get anything out of the remainder of the season? Is there any winnable games? Taylor's Lake obviously winnable, but are they probably going to win only 1, maybe 2 more games?
Yeah, I think the boys will win a couple more games, and hopefully as we build momentum into the finals, the senior squad's really strong, and naturally that'll flow down to the reserves. So they might get an upset win in there to finish the season, Flowman, but yeah, I don't think that'll be enough to see them play finals. The
under-17s have put some credible efforts in, albeit they're in 10th place on the ladder with 12 premiership points as opposed to Pimpernel 44, the Keys 36, Harrow Balmoral 36. They're all safe. It's like the 2 sides there fighting on second position for the double chance. Swifts at 28, La Harem 20 and Rapania 24. So I'm not sure quite why they're around the wrong way there, but Nadimak on 20 and Kaniva Lior 20. So a lot of sides in the logjam in the middle there in the 17s.
Yeah, we're just a little bit below that logjam Flowman, and I think our boys, a bit similar to the reserves, they'll definitely win a couple more games to finish their season off, but with so many teams vying for that top 6 position, I think our boys might just miss out.
Okay, so the boys in the 14s, they look like it. They even stormed into contention into the top 6 earlier on. Had a couple of poor weeks, and it's put them down into 8th place on the ladder with a 4-7 record. The Keys are at a 5-6 record. You do get the Keys in the run home. Eden Hope at a 7-4 record. You also get to play them in the run home. Pimpernio above them. You'll get to play them in the run home. Kaniva, the top side, I don't think you'll beat them because they're extremely good. So maybe still an outside chance of finals football if they won, say, 4 of their remaining 5 games.
Yeah, I think every game finishing the season for the under-14 boys would be like a mini-final. They really need to find some wins, Flowman, and if they don't, they would have had a great season, but they won't be seeing finals footy.
Yep, that's about it now. Last week you had a ball, I believe. A big crowd came up. And so, Weir, did you get your dancing shoes on or was there just pulled a little bit of an injury out of those 6-goal haul?
Yeah, I was happy standing around talking about the goals, Flowman, but I did sneak on there for just a quick look on the dance floor. But, I was a bit out of my depth. Who's
got the moves at Jeparit Rainbow on the dance floor?
Well, Brad Sherman, actually. He's an older fella, club legend. But, if there's anyone to get the dance floor started, it's always him and his wife, Deborah.
Okay, so and does Deborah play netty still, or is she involved in the club?
She doesn't play netball anymore, but yeah, she's a great volunteer, and she pretty much runs Jeparit with the canteen side of things, Flowman, and making sure everyone who comes to the footy has a good day.
Oh, great stuff. Well, the mock wedding is coming up in a few weeks. We're not talking about Weary getting married. Apparently, they could be a test case, so for you, Weary.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, Flowman, but the mock weddings are always good fun, and it'll coincide with Jason's 500, so we might have a good little page boy there for his 500th game.
Nicely said. Beautiful work, Weary. And we're going to catch up and have another chat about the round of matches to be played next week. We do it all again next week. You have a great weekend.
I will. Thanks very much, mate.